Hello friends, welcome to this video. I have to confess, this one has been an emotional roller coaster for me. I was so excited to talk about this character because we actually kind of collaborated in the Discord on her, as well as obviously incorporating ideas in YouTube comments, and like together we made a freaking awesome character. But I could not get the art right, guys. Like literally up until an hour ago, I was thinking I was going to come onto this video and say, this isn't her like canon look, guys. I have to redesign her because I want to talk about her, but the art just didn't work out and all that stuff. But I think I got it, saved it in like the last hour. So I hope you enjoy watching her evolve from a mess to what she ends up being. With that being said, this is Vanadinite, Queen of the Gyrewings, and she's got to be one of my favorite characters in this little series right here. She gives Nyx a run for her money in my mind. I don't mean to set you up with high expectations. I want to be honest that I'm biased when I'm talking about her. Okay, anyway, for those of you who are wondering what the heck I'm talking about, this is the Tribe Gen series. The Tribe Gen series started out as a challenge to make randomly generated Wings of Fire tribes. And it's turned into a world and a story. And Vanadinite is a key part of that story, actually. As you can see, Vanadinite is a Gyrewing. The Gyrewings are currently at war with the Scorchwings to steal their desert territory, because the Gyrewings need the metal that is in that territory, due to the fact that they need metal for their bones, their teeth, their claws, their horns, and oh yeah, their eggs. They need to eat the metal in order to produce these parts of their bodies and their eggshells. Why, you ask, can't they find metal in their own territory? Well, that's because they ate it all. Their native range is in the plains, which is why they have these really long legs. I kind of model them a little bit after the maned wolf. So they have these long legs to see over some long grasses. And also, since there aren't really a lot of like hills or cliffs for them to drop down from in order to fly, they run into flight. So they got their long legs to help them with that. They also have these manes of feathers on their necks, their chests, their legs, and these feathers actually function sort of like the mane of a male lion. It's protection for fighting, because the Gyrewing tribe has a very warrior-like culture. They do a lot of dueling, both as like celebration stuff, like, you know, if someone has a birthday, there's going to be some dueling for fun. Also for like tournaments are fun for them, dueling tournaments, and also for settling disputes. So whereas their opponents, the Scorchwings, would try to talk it out among themselves and then go to the queen to make a decision about who gets this piece of land or whatever, the Gyrewings would duel over it. All in, you know, sportsmanlike conduct, I mean, for the most part. But yeah, that's kind of what I mean by saying they have this like warrior-like culture. Also, warriors are really well respected in their culture as well. And they have a lot of like soldiers and stuff, which means that they're kind of OP when it comes to battle. Other important facts, this tribe, some members of this tribe can sense metal, and that's actually kind of like the key ability of the main character of this tribe, Nyx. If you go watch her video, she sensed the metal in the desert, and that's why they're going over there. And finally, this tribe has 2 animuses, which also makes them very, very formidable opponents. Now, the Gyrewings are set up almost as the villains in this story. They're definitely the aggressor tribe. And so you would think maybe the queen, Vanadinite, would be, you know, a big bad, an evil queen who is like, let's, you know, take this territory from this other tribe. They're too weak to stop us. But, you know, what's the fun in such a simple bad guy? So obviously, we tried to make Vanna a little different. Vanna, short for Vanadinite, obviously, she's a young queen. She's the youngest of all of the queens in this story. I would say in human years, she'd probably be around her early 20s. I'm gonna say like 20. So just barely not a teen anymore. Prefrontal cortex not fully developed yet. She's one of the youngest queens the Gyrewings have ever had. And I'm going to circle back to that a little bit later. In any case, Vanna is this like larger than life personality, extroverted, big sister type. She's a type who will call you like scavenger food, and it means that she loves you. She's very jokey, prankster, class clown. Maybe she'll beat you up if she wants your lunch that day. But at the same time, if you get into a scrape, you know that she's the first person who will come to your aid. Naturally, as a Gyrewing, she is no stranger to fighting. And, you know, she's kind of your classic Gyrewing in that sense. She loves fighting. It's like, it's almost supposed to be your favorite hobby when you're a Gyrewing, and she just fits that to a T. Her second favorite hobby would probably be hunting, but only if something, you know, cool happened, like an ambush from another tribe, or I don't know. She's kind of like an adrenaline junkie a little bit. Not like the kind of people who go out and like risk their lives on purpose because they think it's fun, but it's just like when life gives her those situations, she's like, oh yeah, this is really fun. And overall, I would say she's pretty easygoing. So why would she decide to attack the Scorchwings rather than just try to make a deal with them? Well, it's a little complicated, and this ties into why she is such a young queen. Alright, so based on the description, I hope you can tell Vanna isn't like the conniving, cunning, ambitious, you know, type of dragon, but her best friend is. Guess who convinced her to fight her mom to be queen? So he doesn't have a name yet, but I think I might do him in his own video because he is actually a pretty interesting character as well. Vanna is aware that her best friend is pretty ambitious and a bit underhanded, and she's usually pretty level-headed about figuring out whether or not she wants to go along with like some of his schemes. She's not one to usually be manipulated into doing something easily because, I mean, she's a bit stubborn. But unfortunately, the current situation has her in extreme anxiety mode. There's this metal shortage. Every day that passes puts everybody in more danger, and she's carrying eggs that need metal. Her mother's plan was to wait, send out more patrols, see if they can find any deposits on their current land while they work on treaties with the Scorchwings to get peaceful access to the desert and access to the metal by their time. But Vanna feels like she's running out of time. And of course, she has her friend in her ear saying that the time to act is now. Your eggs won't survive if you don't get metal. Your mother is too weak a queen to do what needs to be done. And that, like, do what needs to be done for your children is what convinces Vanna that she needs to fight her mother. I've mentioned before that when I'm thinking about specific scenes that are really strong in my head, I see them like a movie. And I definitely see the coronation battle between her and her mom like a movie. Gyrewing coronation battles are like the event of a lifetime, honestly. There's a whole festival around it with tournaments and feasting, and of course, the grand finale is the battle between the queen and her would-be successor. I'm adding a stipulation that former Gyrewing queens are allowed to yield, just because it makes me sad to think of like a daughter, you know, taking her mother out. I'm too soft for it. Anyway, long story short, it's the battle of the century. Unfortunately, once Vanna does assume the throne, the pressure on her just gets even worse. Now, not only does she have to think about her own children, she has to think of her entire tribe's children. And this normally level-headed, easygoing dragon is stretched to her limit, and she's just constantly about to snap. If I were to like write it in novel words, I would say something like her nerves are pulled tighter than a piano wire. And naturally, this stress and this like emotional instability as well makes it pretty easy for her quote unquote friend to manipulate her. And also, it doesn't help that he's their dad. He's the dad of her children. So you see, anything he says, he can now say, well, I'm saying do this because it would be for the benefit of our children. And once he says that, it's like there's nothing she can do to argue, because what wouldn't she do for her children, right? And yeah, you can thank the Discord admins for that dark facet to her story. I like it because it makes it not so, oh, the Gyrewings are the bad guys and it's just easy to root against them. Like, and their queen must be just so evil and greedy to try to take another tribe's desert, you know? So yeah, let me know what you think of her. Let me know if you think that she's a sympathetic character, because I think she is, but I'm biased, like I mentioned in the beginning. Anyway, after a full recolor, this is how she turned out. I feel like her feathered mane kind of reminds me of a sunburst and also a cobra's like hood. So that's pretty cool. Here's Venadonite next to a generic Gyrewing. She's a little bit taller, a little bit bigger than, you know, average. And I wanted to give her this like golden hero type aesthetic in the end, just because I feel like that fits her personality. She is the personality to be a hero, but she kind of isn't. Anyway, I hope you like her or dislike her in the right way. And let me know if you want me to talk about her mate in another video. And if you have any ideas for like something in Vanna's backstory that you think would be a cool addition, please write it down in the comments, because it's just, they're so fun to read and I feel like they flesh her out. So, you know, give me some like battle training adventures, give me some like hunting accidents, misadventures, you know, something like that. And let me know what you think of the art. Yeah, she, like, this is exactly what happened with the Tidewing Queen. I just had to like redo all of the coloring because it turns out that the colors I picked just didn't really work. But in the end, I think she looks pretty good, and I'd love to hear what you think too. But as always, thank you so much for watching this video. The link to the Discord is in the description. It's open to everybody now, so yeah, RP coming soon. And yeah, thank you again. I'll see you around.